Now the remaining sutras, that is up to 30. It is the first pada of the first adhyaya. So the remaining sutras we have covered so far 21. So another 9 sutras. I would like to go through the translation and not the original. The reason is the sutras do not speak much of philosophy or anything like that. So no detailed discussion is necessary. And the only thing is a particular term is used. Does it mean Brahman or does it mean ordinary? So that kind of a discussion. For that, Shankaracharya takes up some obscure passage from the Chandogya, which we have not come across. Now to prepare for it. So that passage must be understood first. And then the quotation from that passage can be understood. Using that, he will say that this term is used in this sense. Therefore, that can be. So, Prabhu Maharaj Sw.Amrithananda's translation, I think, would be enough. Or if you want the original of the quotation, it is here. Because I cannot explain offhand where it comes and all that. So, the Akashastallingat, this is the thing that we wanted today. That is Tallingat, Brahmalingat, Akashaha. Akasha means Brahman. The question is raised in a particular context. Here Akasha is used. Does it mean ordinary Akasha as we say? Or does it mean something else? Context appears to be something else, not an ordinary Akasha. So for that, Tallinga, wherever you have to decide, you have to know whether the particular characteristics of what is meant are there. So if Akasha means Brahman in a particular context, Brahman's characteristic, Brahmalinga, is it there? It is there. Therefore, Akasha means Brahman, Tallinga. That characteristic is there, like that. For that he takes a passage and analyzes and proves. So I shall read through. If you want to have the original, I can read that here. The word Akasha, ether, to be understood as Brahman. In the last topic, the characteristics like being above all evil, Papmanastu, the last topic we read. What was the topic? They already forgot it. That is, he is above all the level of sins. That was the thing. Antastadharmopadeshat, in that connection. We read that. So, being above all evil, etc., being of doubtful import were made to refer to Brahman and not to the deity of the solar orb. That is, while discussing, we said like that. Doubt is there. Therefore, it is Brahman or is it the deity in the solar orb? And not to the deity of solar orb, and accordingly the mention of form, etc., were interpreted to the imagined in Brahman for the sake of meditation. So this Purusha means Brahman only, and wire is form, etc., just to help us in meditation. Like that we described earlier, just the previous 2 sutras. But now the characteristics mentioned in the text that are taken up for discussion are not of doubtful import, but refer clearly to elemental ether. Elemental ether means Bhuta, Bhutakasha, one of the Panchabhutas, the first Bhuta. So, how will you interpret these texts seems to be the view of the objector. The thing is taken up for discussion, a Vakya is shown where definitely the context is Brahman. And why he uses word Akasha. And how to interpret the word Akasha here in this context. So you see, where you should never, you cannot make a rule that this word means only this, nothing else. You can't make a rule. Particularly, you can't make a rule for the Vedas. Even kavis, that is poets, nirankusha kavayaha, nirankusha kavayaha. If it is there, that is, they are free, independent. You can't object them. Why you are composing like this and all that. So much more so of the Vedas. All that we can do is take the interpretation and see if it is all right. Akasha Stallinga. Akasha, the word Tallinga, on account of the characteristic mark of that Brahman, means Brahman. Akasha Stallingat Brahmanaha. That is the indicator. The word Akasha, ether, is Brahman on account of the characteristic marks of that Brahman being mentioned. What is the goal of this world? Akasha. He replied, for all these beings take their rise from Akasha. This is a quotation. He has not given here the number, etc. This is a quotation from the Shruti. So, why all these beings come from Akasha, take they rise from Akasha. What does that mean? That is an indication of Brahman. He said that Janmadhyasya Yataha and all these things come from Brahman, remain in Brahman, and go back to Brahman. So that is the first cause. So similarly about Akasha it is said. What justification is there? When the first cause is Brahman, why Akasha? Some justification is there, otherwise how can they say it? And justification is, Vayu was born of Akasha. Yathatmana Akasha, Akashat Vayu, Vayor Agnihi, like that. So Akasha is the cause. This said. He replied, for all these things, take their rise from Akasha only and dissolve in it. Akasha is greater than this. That is being the cause. Cause is always greater than the effect. It is their ultimate goal. It indeed is the supreme Udgita. That is Chandogya Upanishad 1.9, etc. You can refer to that, which is here also. Udgita is Chandogya Upanishad, is a Samavedic Upanishad. And therefore, wherever you get references, etc., it refers to the Saman. Udgita is one. And it is their ultimate goal. It indeed is the supreme Udgita. He who, knowing this, as such, meditates on the supreme Udgita. Udgita is a Saman. So technically, what exactly is the importance of Udgita, you must refer to rituals, because there only the relative importance is seen. Udgita is very important hymn there. 3 priests will be there, representing the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and one to supervise, Brahman. So the Udgita. Here, Akasha refers to Brahman and not to the element Akasha. That is Panchabhuta Akasha, not that. It refers to Brahman. As the characteristics of Brahman, namely the rise of the entire creation from it and its return to it, is at dissolution. Return to it at dissolution are mentioned. No doubt, these marks may also refer to the ether, as the scriptures say that from the ether is produced air, from air fire, etc. And they return to the ether at the end of a cycle. That is, one is Srishti, another is Pralaya. Srishti, the evolution is this direction. And Pralaya, the back, Viloma, the direction. So Akasha produces air, therefore we can say Akasha is similar to Brahman. And they return to the ether at the end of a cycle. But then the force of the words all these and only in the text quoted would be lost. To preserve it, that is, even though Akasha also creates Vayu, but There in that verse quoted, all these return to, and you say Akasha and say all these rise from that and all these return to that. What does that mean? You mean Brahman, but you are using a wrong name, Akasha. After all, it is not wrong because Akasha also is a creator. Just he used one term. As I said, you can't take offense at that. As the scriptures say that from the ether is produced the air, from air, fire, etc. But then the force of the words, all these and only in the text quoted would be lost. To preserve it, the text should be taken to refer to the fundamental cause of all, including the ether, which can be Brahman alone. The word Akasha is also used for Brahman in other texts. That which is called Akasha is Yadesha Akasha Anando Nasyat. Yesterday we read Anyat Kaf Pranyat Yadesha Akasha Anando Nasyat. That is, who would, how will Apana work and how will Prana work, the verbal forms of Prana. This Akasha Ananda, there Akasha means Brahman. So it is used in Vedas to denote Brahman in a few places. The word Akasha is also used for Brahman in other texts. That which is called Akasha is the revealed of all forms and names. It is Chandogya. Again, Brahman alone can be greater than all, and their ultimate goal as mentioned in the text. In other scriptural passages like, he is greater than the earth, he is greater than the heavens, Brahman is knowledge and bliss, Vijnanamanandam Brahma. It is the ultimate goal of him who makes gifts. These qualities of being greater and the ultimate goal of everything are mentioned, and therefore this interpretation is justified. Hence, Uddhita in the text cited is to be meditated upon not as a symbol of the ether, but of Brahman. So the Uddhita is a text for meditation. So the meditation text is advised that it should be meditated upon Brahman, not Akasha, even though the term Akasha is mentioned. You see, these are all, in a way, they are very important to guide the people, spiritual aspirants who meditate. These are all difficult meditations. In those days they used to do it. Nowadays they don't even know much. So these meditations, correct guidance should be given. Otherwise, whole life he would meditate on a wrong thing and come to the wrong conclusion. The word prana is to be understood as Brahman. In the same way, there is a context, probably the same Chandogya, and the word prana is used because that Brihadaranyaka, there Jeshthascha Shreshthascha, one controversy arises. Prana on one side, all the Indriyas and mind on the other side. Among us, who is the senior most, and therefore who is the greatest? Anybody who is senior most is greater. No, that quarrel has been taken there in the Upanishads also. Jeshthascha Shreshthascha. Then they decide that all right, we will do like this. Say for 1 year, one of us would go away. If they are all reside in the person, if the person continues to live and if he has no trouble, that's all. My importance is not much. But if there is something wrong, then I am very important. I will prove like that. So one by one, I think the eye said, I will go. And the man became blind. But still he carried on. What is this? Blind people also continue in this way. After that, one by one like that, the mind went away. And then he behaved, that's all. No rational thinking, no cogency of thought and all that. He was there. And then the mind came back and said, how did you live? I lived like a madman. What does it matter? That fundamentals are not touched. So all these indriyas exhausted their power. Now prana said, I will live. And then the moment it said, the whole thing started shaking. Prana, how can it live even for a moment? And then the indriyas themselves, they depended on prana. Only if man is living, indriyas are useful. Otherwise, for whose sake? Then they said, no sir, you are the senior most, you are the greatest. We will all accept. Please don't live. So, jeshthascha shreshthascha. Therefore, prana gets importance there. Therefore, sometimes the word prana is used for indriyas. Prana is used for Brahman also. So, when it is used for Brahman, a doubt arises. How can it be used for Brahman? Same way. Akashastallinga, similarly. Atayeva prana. In the same argument, same way of argument, you prove that the word prana that is used means Brahman and not anything else. Atayeva, for the same reason, prana, the word prana refers to Brahman. For the same reason, the word prana also refers to Brahman, which is that deity prana. He said, it's a quotation, Chandogya. He said, for all these things merge in prana alone, and from prana they arise. The question is whether prastava, a division of Saman, is a symbol of the vital force or Brahman. Just as we said Udgita, that is also a Saman. In prastava, where it is used for meditation, whether it is a symbol of prana or Brahman. You should know very clearly. When the word prana is used, it is used like Akasha, actually meaning Brahman, but the name, a different name is used, in which case you consider prana as the same as Brahman. That is the decision. Discussion is there. Discussion means characteristics you must be able to clearly state. So the question is whether prastava, a division of Saman, is a symbol of the vital force or Brahman. Here, prana does not mean the vital force but Brahman, in which sense it is used in text like the prana of prana, pranasya prana, that in Brihadaranyaka is written. That means pranasya prana means the most essential thing. Satyasya satyam, trisatyam, Bhagavata. The truth behind the truth. Something like that. Why? Because the characteristic of Brahman, all these beings merge in prana, etc., is mentioned. That is the characteristic. Yato va yumani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti. That characteristic, even a little is found somewhere, you can change it in. That is how prana is made to mean Brahman. All the jivas merge in prana, and that is possible only if prana is Brahman and not the vital force, the ordinary sense of the word, in which only the senses get merged in deep sleep. That is, in deep sleep, that is the example you should remember. In the Jagrat, senses are active, and everything is active. Gross body, senses, mind, everything. In Swapna, the gross body is nothing. You are not aware of it. And you create your own body, Swapnika Sharira. And then the Indriyas are not active. Then mind alone creates a body, creates a world, creates Indriyas, and mind alone takes all this responsibility. Therefore, Swapna, the story is different. But in the deep sleep, everything is gone. Nothing remains. Indriyas do not work. Gross body doesn't work. Mind doesn't work. Buddhi doesn't work. Then what works? Prana alone works. There, he doesn't stop breathing in deep sleep. So I forgot to breathe, sir. Now I will be. He won't be leaving to say that. So prana is active in deep sleep also. That means prana is the supreme thing. If that goes, then that's all. So this is what is known as Jyotischaranavirhana. This you will find a mention of this in that Gayatri. That Jyotischaranavirhana. That is, the Jyoti is mentioned, and does it mean Brahman? And it is compared with Gayatri. Charana means meter. No, what is you call it? Foot. 4 feet are there, 1 foot is the charana. So the charanabhidhana, Jyoti means Brahman or Gayatri. Jyotihi light, charanabhidhana on account of the mention of feet. That's all. That is the sutra. And now the discussion. The word light in Brahman on account of the mention of feet in a complementary passage. Now that light which shines above this heaven, beyond all, let a man meditate on this Chandogya Upanishad. Parodibo, like that the Vedic mantra comes. There, that is a key mantra. You must remember it always. Parodibo. Above heavens, there is a peculiar light. Man should meditate on that. It has nothing to do with the physical light. Parodibo, like that. Above the heavens. What do they mean by that? That is the discussion. Let a man meditate on this. Here, the question is whether the meditation is to be on the light as such or on Brahman. The Jyoti, the word, does it really mean light as usual? Or it means something else? Parodivo, this light doesn't go there. It is above heaven. So here the sutra says that light here does not mean physical light, which helps vision, such as the sun, but Brahman, because feet, quarters are mentioned in a preceding text. See, when the Purusha Sutta, Tripadurdhavudait Purushaha Pado Osyeha Bhavat Punaha. So like this, the 3 feet above, only 1 foot, and with that, from that all this creation. That is like that explained. That is, these feet are common to the shloka or chandas, and also common to the creator. 4 feet means purna. 3 feet above means he is always there, only a little. That atyatishtat dashangulam purusha yevedagam sarvam yadbhautam yachabhavyam utamrutatvasyesanah. So like this it goes on. So that wherever that feet comes, meter, and also a portion of him, a major portion of him. So that feet thing has come here. And whether it means physical light, and as the sun but Brahman, because feet, quarters are mentioned in a preceding text. This much is its glory. Greater than this is the Purusha. 1 foot of it is all beings, while its remaining their feet are immortal, remaining 3 feet are immortal in heaven. This is the Chandogya quotation. In Purusha Sutta also a similar thing comes. The Brahman that has been so described in this passage is recognized in the one first quoted, where light occurs, because there also it is said to be connected with heaven. Parodivo. Brahman is the subject matter of not only the previous texts, but also of the subsequent texts. For in the section immediately following that which contains the passage under discussion, that is in Chandogya. Brahman is also the main topic. That is, where these passages are taken from. They are the passages which deal with Brahman. Main topic is Brahman. There this word prana comes, Jyotish comes in. And therefore what does that mean? We are discussing about Brahman, this word. That word also means Brahman. Why it was used? Charanabhidhana, Brahman has 4 feet. And this Jyoti also will be like that. It is not the physical light. So it is therefore but reasonable to say that the intervening section also deals with Brahman. Hence, like these are all in the ways of argument, something settled things which everybody has to agree with. Suppose you are discussing some discussion is there, and in between something comes, again something proceeds. Then what is in between? Does it mean separating the two? No. That also is to be included along with this. So like that. These are all various methods of interpreting the meaning of a text, a passage, like that in the Vedas. That is a big science. You are Laugakshi Bhaskara's Mimamsa. Some name of the Laugakshi Bhaskara, just that. The very tough book is Aporeva's Mimamsa Nyaya Prakasha. That is supposed to be a very tough book. But even then it is not a big book, only this much. But very, very difficult to understand. Aporeva. And a beautiful commentary on it was written by one Abhayankar here. I think the same Abhayankar was murdered. The family itself was murdered some years ago. I don't know. But that Abhayankar's commentary I had read. It's a beautiful commentary on this book, Mimamsa Nyaya Prakasha, Aporeva. This much commentary. So this hence light here means Brahman. The word light can be used for Brahman, which manifests the world even as light manifests objects. The mention of limiting agents with respect to Brahman, denoted by the word light, is only for the sake of meditation. That is, in regard to Brahman, you don't limit. But sometimes you use a different word and limit. For example, that is what it said, the Purusha in the Aditya, that is a limitation. But that means Brahman. How can we say limitation is Brahman? Limitation for purposes of your meditation. You can't meditate on Brahman as such. So you limit and meditate. But Lakshya should be the same. Swamiji said, don't pull down the ideal. Work up to that. So, it's for sake of meditation. Chandobhidhanan netiche na tatha cheto arpana nigadapi tatha hi darsana. That question is raised in this sutra. What is the question? The Chandobhidhanan netiche, Chandas. That Chandas means meter Gayatri. Being mentioned, na, is not iti. Chet, if it is said, na, no, tatha in that way, cheto arpana nigada, the application of the mind has been inculcated. Tathahi, for so darshanam, it is seen. If it be said that Brahman is not referred to or on account of the meter Gayatri being mentioned, there that the quotation, it mentions Gayatri. That is why. So Gayatri means meter, because it is the supreme mantra in the Vedas. And Shankaracharya takes up for a discussion, even though it is not relevant, he takes up because why Gayatri became so famous. And only it has 3 feet. Tripada Shatkukshi, and then 8 letters. There are very big mantras, meters, like Brihati, 44 letters, 48 letters. And this, with only 8 letters, it becomes so important. Okay. You say, I wanted to know whether a book like this on Vedic Chandas is there. Old books, they are not available. One Pingala, his book is there, but it doesn't. And somebody, Kanchi Shankaracharya Senior, he has given a lecture on this, but he also doesn't touch this problem. My problem is Vedic meter. It is measured by letters, not by matras. Laukik meter is not like that. Guru, Ladhu and all that. It is measured by matras, not by letters. There it is letters. What is the difference, meaning of this? If any meter is measured by letters, how do you arrive at a particular way of chanting it? What is its meaning? What difference does it make? In a Laukika meter, you can easily find out how to chant that. But in a Vedic meter, you can't do. For example, what we are doing is, what Sayanacharya or somebody has marked. That is, Om Bhova Swaha, Tatsaditurvarenyam. These are the swaras given. But the 8-lettered Gayatri, what is its contribution? That is a fundamental question. Regarding the chanting, etc., the whole thing is confused. Rigveda, more or less, it comes. And but there, Uchayurudataha, Panini Siksha. But there seems to be a different Siksha here, particularly in Maharashtra. That is, mostly they deal with Shukla Yajurveda. And therefore their Siksha is different. Whatever may be Siksha, it is a question of pronouncing it. So why should it make any difference? For example, Guru, Laghu, they don't show any distinction. People who chant these mantras in Shukla Yajurveda. Simply they will be showing like this. But the Swara comes, that they say they learnt it when Surya was going on his rounds. He can't apply for leave. So along with him they went. And that was making lot of noise. That wheel. Only one wheel. That noise also these people could do. So in that noise, whatever Surya taught them, they always heard wrongly. So Sha becomes Kha, Grishma becomes Grikma. Their Purusha Sutta, they chant like that one. Purusha becomes Purukha, Sahasrashira Kha, Purukha, like that only they chant. So this, the meter also is changed. That is a meter which controls the whole of North India. The Shukla Yajurveda. I never knew this. So what is the, when you say meter is measured by letters, not by matras. Matras it is all right, no doubts will come. These letters, how to pronounce, you have to pronounce by this matras only. That only I wanted to discuss in Vedic Samshodhana Mandal. That lady who has gone to Scotland, she said, my PhD is in grammar. In grammar only I am writing this book. Grammar, it comes in grammar. Panini, Uchayirudaptaha, Nichairanudaptaha, Samaharaswaritaha. Anyway, so it is that Gayatri which is mentioned here. Gayatri means meter. The Chandobhidhana, you open that Chandogya Upanishad, you will refer to this. The meter Gayatri being mentioned, etc. If it be said that Brahman is not referred to on account of the meter Gayatri being mentioned, there Gayatri is mentioned. So Brahman is not referred to. No, we may call it Gayatri, but Brahman only is mentioned. It's very difficult to understand this. Akashasthalingat, Akasha has property. Here also they say, Gayatri means Brahman only. Jyoti is the characteristic. Jyoti is the characteristic of light, characteristic of Brahman. Whatever removes the darkness from the mind is light. It may not be physical light. So that is why we say Chakshuru Neelitam Jena Jnananjana Shalakaya Vasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnana means always light. So Gayatri being mentioned, we reply no, because in that way, by means of the meter, the application of the mind on Brahman has been inculcated, for so that is through the help of the modifications of Brahman, it is seen in other texts. That is, meter is there. Why meter? If Brahman is mentioned, why meter? That is to help you to meditate on Brahman. That's all. So this is the discussion. An objection is raised in that text, in the text, that in the text, 1 foot of it is all beings. Pado syeha bhavat punaha. That is it. Pado syeha. Oh, the original text in Chandogya may be slightly different. This is Purusha Sutra I am quoting, because Chandogya I don't remember, we have to see. It is all beings. Brahman is not referred to, but the meter Gayatri. For in meter Gayatri also this discussion comes. There also one line is sufficient. The other lines are simply explanations. The one line is all. There also this question comes. For the first paragraph of the preceding section of the same Upanishad begins with Gayatri is everything, whatever here exists, etc. And why should they say Gayatri is everything, whatever here exists? They mean Brahman, but use the word Gayatri. And what is the characteristic common to Brahman and Gayatri? Light, knowledge. That is how they have to do. Therefore, the feet referred to in the text cited in the last sutra refer to this meter and not to Brahman. In reply, that is because the prakarana starts with Gayatri. And therefore this meter that is referred to Chando Vidhanat, meter that is referred to Nepiche Natatha. Because there is a meter that is referred to, it is not Brahman, it is Gayatri. No, it is Brahman. Meter that is referred to will help you in meditation on Brahman. That is why meter is referred. Actually it means Brahman. So it is a little more difficult to understand. Akasha Stallingat was all right. Prana, Atayeva Pranaha was all right. This Chando Vidhanat, Nepiche Natatha, Cheto Arpana Nigadat. Tatha Darshanam. So in reply it is said not so. For the text Gayatri is always, it teaches that one should meditate upon the Brahman which is connected with this meter, because Brahman being the cause of everything is connected with that Gayatri also, and it is that Brahman which is to be meditated upon. So what is the logic? Brahman has created everything, therefore he has created Gayatri also. Therefore, wherever Gayatri, here in this connection Gayatri is mentioned, it doesn't matter, you take it as well. That is the link. The Gayatri also. And it is that Brahman which is to be meditated upon. This interpretation would be in keeping with the other texts in the same section. For example, that which is that Brahman, and also with all this indeed is Brahman, where Brahman is the chief topic. Meditation on Brahman through its meditations or effects is seen in other texts also. In the Bahuvrichas, meditate upon in the great hymn. Therefore, Brahman is meant here and not the meter Gayatri. That is the conclusion. Let me see if I can get to that passage. The explanation is fairly long. That's why I was afraid. Fairly long in Sanskrit. Sw.Amrithananda ji has cut it to You see, this is the introduction to that. Karyam Jyotir Uta Brahma Jyotir Deepyate Ityatah Brahmano Asannidhehe Karyam Tejolinga Baladati. Karyam means the effect, that is Jyoti. That is, Karyam Jyoti means physical light. Karana Jyoti means Brahman. That's all. And Chatushpat Prakritam Brahma Yet Shabdena Anuvartyate Jyotisyat Bhashakam Brahma Lingam tu Upadhi Yogataha. That is Brahman's power of manifesting things. That is mentioned here. All right. Iva idam amananti atha yadataha parodivo jyotir deepyate vishwataha prustheshu sarvataha prustheshu anuttameshu uttameshu lokeshu idam vava tad yadidam asmin antah purushe jyotihi. Only because of that involved construction I wanted to omit it. That is how it opens, Chandogya. Tatra samshayaha kiniha jyotihi shabdena adityadi jyotiradhidhiyate kimva paramatma iti. Paramatma, why should it come? It manifests everything. Because of Paramatman, everything is seen in the world. Because when sun is not there, when moon is not there, in Brihadaranyaka also this discussion comes. What is it that gives you light? What is it that guides you? Astangate Ravihi, when the sun sets, the moon is not there. Stars are not there. Fire is also not there. Then suppose a man replies to me, I am calling him, it is all dark, and he replies to me. By the speech I can recognize that. Like this proceeding, it is Atma. Ultimately, when everything is not there, it is Atma. Atma Jyoti is the greatest Jyoti. All these are poor reflections of that sun, moon, etc. Chatusutri. What is it? I will tell you afterwards. Acha. Eka shloki. Yes. That portion only he has taken. Eka shloki. That is the Atma, the light of lights. So like this. Tatra samshayaha. Kiniha jyotish shabdena adityadi jyotihi adhiriyate kim va paramatma. Arthantara vishayasyapi shabdasya tallingat brahma vishayatvam uktam ihatu tallingameva asti nastiti vicharyate. Tallingameva asti means tallingat means brahmalingat. Here in this quotation, Chandogya, brahmalinga is there or not there. That is the discussion. It proceeds like that. It is interesting, provided you are familiar with the words. Here, familiarity is not there much, therefore I avoid it. But the discussion is so fine that you feel like reading. এটাকে বাংলাতে কি করে বুঝাবো? He says you must also explain it like that. कहाँ से बांग्लाते?